Over 775 games have been announced to be released at the Essen SPIEL trade show, which, as of the time of this recording, is still nearly 6 weeks away, and more titles are being added to the list every single day. Now, I have been sifting through this swath of cardboard and plastic and listing my top 100 picks. We're only a fifth of the way through it, so let's continue with my next 10 Essen SPIEL top picks. Hello and welcome back to this Pair of Dice Paradise special series of my top Essen SPIEL picks. Now, for this list, I am focusing on games that I haven't covered in other recent videos like these, also with games with a 2019 or 2020 English release date. But that still leaves a huge list. A list that I have mixed up and present to you in no particular order. But before we begin, I wanted to mention a comment that was posted on the first episode of this series, which covered numbers 1 through 10 on my list. The comment states, "What kind of board game reviewer count in ascending order?" Thank you. Thank you, Internet, for once again focusing on what's really important. I'll keep that feedback in mind and I'll do my best to number these better as we continue to the next game on our list, number R, which is Castello Methoni, an economic city building game focusing on area enclosure by Mandu Games. In Castello Methoni, players attempt to take over castles, but they do so with money, not military might. Now, on a turn, a player plays a card of a certain terrain, builds a wall on the corresponding place, and then places one of their houses and one other house on each side of the wall. When an area is enclosed by walls, it becomes a castle. And when a player builds a castle, then they pay money to the players who have a house in that area. When a player builds a castle adjacent to another castle, they can cough up some extra cash to merge the castles together. The game ends when no more walls or no more coins remain in the supply, and then the player who has collected the most precious coins wins the game. Castle Methoni has a fantastic table presence, and the way that the townships and castles will grow and morph over time as the game progresses sounds particularly intriguing. Walk this way and I will tell you of number 22, The Chronicles of Run, an abstract strategy game of area control and tile placement by Scale Games. Here we go. In The Chronicles of Run, it's hard times as chaos and order clash, and the fate of the world of Run hangs in the balance. It's like that. At the beginning of the game, the two players receive cards, tokens, and screens. And then, on each player's turn, it's tricky because they create the world of Run as they play by placing hexagonal land tiles on the table between them. But that's not just what it's all about. Pause and take note. Lands are divided into two zones, one for attackers and a second for defenders, each with a different outcome on the game. So, what you gonna do? Well, each turn, players will choose and place one rune token, representing a hero who's down with the king. And then, after both sides have played, the tokens are revealed, their cards placed aside, and their skills applied. Now, these runes are very important because they provide powerful skills that can modify the position of characters, boost them, or win a challenge against a specific opponent. Without them, you be illin'. I'll be honest, I wanted to make a Run DMC joke in this segment by saying that the expansion for Chronicles of Run was going to be called the Chronicles of DMC, but no, I'm not going out like that. But you know what? I'm sure I'll find some other way to make a reference to the pioneering rap group in this segment instead. Number 23 is Chartae, or Chartae. I'm calling it Chartae, probably unless I pronounce it differently, at random. Anyway, it's an abstract strategy game about map making designed by Rainier Knizia and published by XV Games. In Chartae, I guess that is how I'm pronouncing it, players will take the role of cartographers who try to remember and build an ancient map. The game is made of 9 square tiles which represent parts of the map, and each tile has a land zone and a water zone on it. One player then tries to connect the land zones and the other the water zones. Every turn they have to decide whether they want to rotate a tile or place a new one. And then, once the map is complete, the player who connected the most zones wins. Word on the street is that Chartae is designed to offer players almost all the information that they need in order to develop a strategy. But still, no word yet on whether or not these one-of-a-kind maps will lead players to a fabled sunken treasure, though. That joke will make sense in a little while. Trust me. Number 24 is The Sovereign's Chain, a strategic cutthroat game from WizKids, so named because the class cards played in front of players form chains. Now you can play cards on your own, into your own chain, or into a chain of your opponents. And while most cards are played face up, which activates their abilities, some can be played face down and be activated later. Sound effects sold separately. Class cards come in two suits, stars and planets, and to win, you must have the highest difference in points between these two suits when someone's chains reaches 7 cards. A lot of S's there that I didn't need, but I put in anyway because that's cool. To add a wrinkle to the game, a small deck of event cards is also included with unique effects that change the game completely. Now, this could be a simple little card game, but WizKids has had a track record of, recently in the last couple of years, putting out some pretty cool card games, including Tournament at Camelot, which is one of my current favorites of all time. So I'm really interested to find out if Sovereign's Chain continues that track record. Number 25 is Trismegistus. Oh my gosh. Trismegistus. Trismegistus. Yep. Number 25 is Trismegistus, the Ultimate Formula, a game of dice rolling, card drafting, and set collection by Board and Dice. In this game, you are an adept of the mysterious art of alchemy, seeking a way to become the successor of the greatest alchemist ever living, Hermes Trismegistus. Now, in order to do so, you will be transmuting your metals into pure gold, performing experiments, and inventing artifacts to finally achieve everlasting greatness. Trismegistus, the Ultimate Formula, is played over 3 rounds, during which players will draft exactly 3 dice. By expertly utilizing the potency of your drafted dice, they will be able to transmute precious materials, collect alchemical essences, purchase and activate artifacts, I'm still going, and perform experiments that will progress them along 4 mastery tracks. They'll also build a secret hand of publication cards, which, together with the value of their experiments, will determine their final score in victory points and perhaps elevate them towards being the greatest alchemist of all time. Someone able to rival Hermes Trismegistus himself. And whoever it is, I hope that they have an easier to pronounce name, like Jones. How about Jones? Alchemist Jones has a really nice ring to it. Actually, it sounds terrible, but it's way easier to say than Trismegistus. Trismegistus is actually the way it is. Trismegistus. Wow! Man, it's not even easy to type as I'm writing these notes, which I will later read on camera, so be sure to remove this note about how difficult it is before I start recording. I did not. The game, whatever it's called, features custom dice, the sides of which represent alchemical materials. And at the beginning of each round, the dice are rolled and grouped by their respective types. Now on their turn, a player must either draft a new dice or utilize the untapped potency of a previously drafted die. Based on the material associated with their chosen die, they will be able to collect certain essences in addition to the material to which the die is keyed. Additionally, the colors of the die will determine which types of transmutations can be performed, refining raw materials and increasing their mastery of the elements. Whew, there is a lot to do in this game. Acquire precious artifacts in order to maximize the effects of your transmutations, conduct experiments, increase your knowledge and expertise, discover the ultimate formula, and make your hopefully pronounceable last name a household word in Trismegistus. Trismegistus. I did it! Trismegistus, the ultimate formula. And speaking of household word production, well, here's a few words about a product for your household. Welcome back, and let's continue on with the rest of the list. Number 26 is Deep Blue, a press your luck game with a nautical theme published by Days of Wonder. In this game, the most ancient, legendary, and extravagant underwater wrecks are just waiting for divers to discover. Fortunately, to do so, you just paid big buco bucks for a fabled, one-of-a-kind map that will lead you right to them and the treasure that they hold. Diving suits and oxygen tanks are on board and the ship is ready to weigh anchor, so there's no time to lose because other captains have also purchased the same apparently not so one-of-a-kind after all fabled map, and the biggest treasure hunt of all time is about to begin. Deep Blue is a family-weight, press-your-luck engine-building game in which players dive for wealth and can potentially benefit from other players' diving fortunes. Players have to collect the right crew of divers, sailors, and archaeologists, race to wreck sites to claim the best spots to dive from, and scout the seas to discover new wrecks. And along the way, players will have to take risks if they want to come out as the most wealthy diver in the end, because the only thing more lucrative than the treasure diving business is to be in the fabled map-making business. Now, after reading Deep Blue's description and looking at its images online, the one thing I want to know is if this is an advanced version of actually this game. Right here, I keep it right here. Deep Sea Adventure. Deep Sea Adventure is like a push your luck treasure accumulation game like Ink and Gold, but with a nautical theme. And I really, really enjoy this game, even though it's teeny tiny, it comes in a little box. So I'm wondering if Deep Blue is like Deep Sea Adventure version 2.0. And if it is, I am ready to dive deep into this game. Number 27 is Cushy Express, a real-time dexterity game of pattern building by Mandu Games. Cushy Express is a game of making barbecue skewers, called cushy in Japanese, as quickly as you can. Every player has 4 plastic blocks of ingredients: tomatoes, peppers, shrimp and beef steak, and 2 sides, cheese and bacon. Then there's a deck of order cards in the middle of the table. Now, as soon as a player reveals the top card of the order deck, every player races to prepare the corresponding cushy. The first player who serves the right cushy on the dish takes the cards. And then, when a player successfully collects 10 points, the game ends with a newly crowned King of Cushy. Please note that the King of Cushy is a purely ceremonial title. The King of Cushy holds no real political power or governmental influence. Furthermore, the boundaries of the Cushy Kingdom are no longer recognized by the UN. Number 28 is Slyville, a humorous bluff and bidding game in a medieval setting by Hexy Studio. In Slyville, the players become heads of guilds operating in an unnamed medieval city, maybe it's Utah, and send their trusted henchmen to do business and close shady deals. Each turn, they have 7 cards in their hand and must play 4 of them into spaces on the district boards placed in the center of the table. By using their card actions, they bid to acquire goods in 5 types that can later be spent on deal tiles. If a player has collected the chosen goods required to close a certain deal, they must play a deal card and spend those appropriate goods. These tiles are worth 20 to 40 points, and the player who gathers 100 points worth of tiles triggers the end of the game. After that, the rest of the players take their final turn, and then all the points are counted. The highest scorer wins and becomes the most influential guild master of the city, possibly Utah. Slyville is a game of pretense and deceit for 3 to 5 players in which managing your resources matters just as much as your bluffing skills and the ability to figure out the opponent's strategy. Try to predict what goods your adversaries might need, because that is a skill that you should do in this game, and then do your best to upset their plans. But above all, secure the most valuable deals for yourself and claim Utah for your Utah's not a city. Number 29, Beno Swap no Pay, a card drafting game with a pirate theme by Mandu Games. I will return to my normal voice. This game starts off with a band of pirates returning to the port of New Providence. I was just getting there after a successful season of plundering. And now it's time to speak in a normal voice and to share in the treasure, the ill-gotten booty even, that the pirates have obtained. How do you do this? I'm glad I asked. There's 4 kinds of coins in this treasure. Some of them are valuable and will make you rich beyond your wildest fantasies, while other coins are as worthless as a coupon for 10% off your next escalator maintenance. During the game, you'll collect coins in your own personal bag o' loot, and then, on your turn, you have to offer up your bag to another player. Now, if they decline, then you get to snag a coin from their bag. Why would they do that? Well, throughout the course of the game, players will draft coins, challenge others to swap bags, and strategically donate some of their coins back to the central supply. In the end, the pirate with the most cunning and coins wins the game. They're a winner. They get the loot because they won. Nope. Number 30 is a game about an affliction I know that I have long suffered from: unicorn fever. A game of wagering and unicorn racing, possibly with some dirty tricks thrown into the mix, by Horrible Games. Now, Unicorn Fever is a re-implementation of 2009's Horse Fever, in which players place wagers on their favorite quadruped and then use any means necessary at their disposal to cause their bets to pay off. In Horse Fever, players would fix races, bribe bookmakers, make horses fall asleep, buy stables, and borrow money from the mob in order to gain victory for their bets. Now, I missed out on Horse Fever, but I'm hoping to get a chance to dabble in some underhanded mythic beast betting in this upcoming new version, Unicorn Fever. The original had 3 different game modes: the standard board game, a more family-friendly version, and a party game variant. So I'm curious to see if all of these variations are carried over to this new version as well. Will my unicorn fever finally break when I get a chance to see this game up close? The only way to find out is to give it a try. And that's it for this episode, but place your bets right now for which games will be featured in my next list in just a few days as we continue on to the next batch of my top picks of games coming out at this year's Essen SPIEL. Till then, I've been Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise. Take care! Add a little bit of divine intervention to your dice rolls with either this dice or devil angel pin strapped to your lapel, lanyard, backpack, or other pinnable surface. Roll with grace and confidence with either one of these 1-inch enamel pins by your side.